Hey, so this is going to be our upper trap mobilization that we're going to utilize the yellow softball for. This is going to get a little bit deeper into that tissue than a lacrosse ball or tennis ball can, as well as allow us to get more leverage to dampen and depress that tissue more to get that tone or get those muscles to relax more. So we're going to place the ball right here into that upper trap area. So right above that bony part of the shoulder blade is where the ball is going to start. We're going to lay it on our side, or I'm sorry, on our back, and we're going to get that ball to where it can stick, and then all we're simply going to do is raise our arm over our head slowly. As I do this, I'm trying to slowly get through a little bit more range of motion, each time trying to dampen or get more pressure through that ball. As I do about 4 or 5 of these, then I'm going to move the ball a little bit more towards my neck. So I'm going to get a little bit closer to that neck. Then again, I'm just going to get into some of that pressure. Now, if you feel that it's not enough pressure, you can raise your hips a little bit to get them there a little bit deeper, because we want to make sure we're getting through as much range of motion as we can before that ball stops our motion. And then the third place you can get is actually more into that neck. So this is where this is a little bit more favorable than a tennis ball or lacrosse ball, because we can get into that neck tissue up through here, where a lot of people have symptoms. So I get right into that neck tissue, and same thing. I can get a little bit through that range of motion. So you do this, you find a spot, you work your arm about 5-6 times, find another spot 5-6 times. You do 1 to 2 rounds of that per side, per day. That's going to really help recover those upper traps area. Give that one a shot. This is going to be the lat mobilization, which we're going to utilize the softball. You can use a foam roller as well if you have that. Softball will get a little bit deeper into that tissue and allows that tissue to stick to the ball a little bit more effectively. So what we're going to do with this is we want to get that lat, which attaches, it starts at your tailbone and it wraps all the way to the front of your shoulder, which is what puts us in that rounded shoulder position. So we want to work a little bit of that rib cage area first, getting some of that muscular area to reduce tension or relax a little bit more, as well as we go into some of that bigger, thicker tissue. So we're going to start right here on the middle of the rib cage. Now with this, ideally we're on our complete side with it. If this is too much pressure, you can always lay a little bit more towards your stomach to offset some of that pressure but still get a good stretch. From here, I'm going to rotate my hand just to an overhead position. I'm going to do this about 5 times, and then I'm going to work that ball right along that muscle band. So to find that lat, all you need to do is just push against the muscle and then push your arm down, and you're going to feel where all that muscle tissue is. We're going to get right into a little bit more of that armpit area, and then we're going to raise our arm again and do 5 more. We do about 5 of those, then we work right behind that armpit. So then we go right higher up, right behind that armpit area, where a lot of that tissue of that lat meets some other tissues of the rotator cuff muscles, helps them relax too. So I work through there 5 times, and I do that for 1 or 2 rounds on each shoulder. It's going to really help reduce a lot of that lat tension, help relax your arms, and get that mobility back. Give that one a shot. Let us know if you have any questions. This is going to be the glute mobilization using the lacrosse ball, softball. You can even use a foam roller for the same technique. Softball is going to get a little bit deeper into that tissue, and it's going to help a little bit more effectively. With this, we get a lot of that tension in our pelvic musculature that comes from that upper pelvic region. So to find the area where we want to work, you're going to find the top of your pelvic ridge, so right where your pelvis starts, and then you're going to work your way down a little bit. Once you feel where that bone starts to divot in, that's where the ball is going to start. We're going to start right in the front through here. We're going to work our way to the side, and then work our way to the tailbone. So I'm going to start here on my side. The big thing with this is we want to work through a full range of motion of that hip joint. So what I'm doing is I'm putting as much pressure as I can tolerate, then I'm rotating my knee back and forth, and I'm trying to go towards the opposite side as much as I possibly can. After about 4 or 5 of those, I'm going to stay high up on that pelvic ridge, and I'm going to work through another spot. It's just going to be nice and tender. So I get another 5, and then I'm going to go more towards my tailbone, more my backside, and again, work through full range of motion. After about doing 3 or 4 spots of about 5 reps of this knee rotation, then I'm going to go to the other side. 1 to 2 sets on each side. It's really going to help open up that pelvic structure, take away a lot of that backache, take away a lot of that hip ache, even some IT band stuff. So give that one a shot, and of course, let us know if you have any questions. The most effective way to help to alleviate a lot of hip and lateral quad or IT band tension is to utilize a lacrosse ball, softball, or foam roller into that what we call a TFL, or the muscle that attaches to the IT band, as well as into that lateral quad. So what we're going to do for this is we want to start right in that hip pocket. So right in the front, we're not on the side, but we're right towards the front, and that's where the ball is going to start, and that's where we're going to alleviate a lot of that tension that the IT band can create. From here, we're going to lay on our stomach with a little bit of bias towards rotating towards the side that we're working, and from here, once I find a nice tender spot, I'm going to rotate my knee, or bend my knee, up and down. Once I do about 4 or 5 of those, then I'm going to work down into the actual quad. So we don't want to roll on the IT band. We don't want the ball to go here. We want the ball to go here and then work our way down towards that knee. So we're not ever going to be on the IT band because you can't stretch it. What we're going to do is irritate the crap out of it. It's not going to feel good. So we can work a little bit more through this tissue here. So once we get into here, you're going to bend your knee, and then you're just going to bend that knee back and forth 5 times, find another spot, then another 5 times. Now I'll tell you, with this one, it's going to get tender the lower you go. So take your time with it, put as much pressure as you can tolerate, and then work through some of those restrictions. So you try that both sides, find 3 or 4 spots, work at 5 reps. You go 1 or 2 rounds of that. It's going to really help open up a lot of those hips and quads after squats, running, and other activities like that. So give that one a shot. Let us know if you have any questions. So your feet have been bothering you. The best way to help alleviate a lot of that tension that we get through that plantar fascia at the bottom of the foot, whether it's from running, it's your activities, even if you are wearing heels or you have a high heel to toe differentiation in your shoe, getting to the bottom of that plantar fascia can help alleviate a lot of that tightness. It's going to help keep better care of your knees and your hips. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll on this, but we're going to roll on it in a specific way. Once I get my foot on the ball, and I'm going to use a softball because it gets a little bit deeper into that pressure, what I'm going to do is once I find a nice tender spot, I'm going to bend my knee back and forth. And the reason for that is when I bend the knee back and forth, I'm getting more pressure to the bottom of the foot, and I'm actually getting some range of motion through that ankle joint. So the ball does not move. What we're doing is we're keeping our toes up as much as we can, and we're working through the bottom of that foot. Now, a lot of times what we see is that many people will work on just the inside here. We want to actually work through the top of that pad, the outside, and even into that heel. That whole structure has some of those muscle bands, that plantar fascia, so we don't want to just focus on that inner area where most people feel symptoms. We want to work the whole structure. So with that, we can get to the outside, and we bend that knee again. The other great thing about this is if you have problems squatting or running or getting that dorsiflexion or that ankle range of motion with your movement, when we bend that knee with movement, it helps train our body to understand that we can relax more in this motion. It allows us to get that motion more effectively versus just stretching or just rolling on the bottom like this. So we're working those different areas. We're keeping that ball still, and I'm just trying to keep my toes up and working through. So I'm going to find 3 or 4 spots. I'm going to do about 5 knee bends forward. After that, go the other foot. You do 1 or 2 rounds of that every couple days. It's going to really help with the recovery. It's going to make your feet a lot happier. It's going to make you a lot happier that you will be able to do your activities and workouts better. So give that one a shot and let us know if you have any questions.